Game here from Atlanta. That game coming up just after the bottom of the hour. Greg Anthony, Brendan Haywood, as promised with you. It's a 2-for-1 situation. Doubleheader starts just after 7:30 Eastern Time. Celtics and Heat from Miami. We'll get to that game in just a little bit. There's other news around the league tonight from L.A. The Lakers also play, but they'll do so without LeBron James, who's expected to miss a week or so with an abdominal strain. James tweaked the muscle during Tuesday night's 2-point win over the Rockets. He has already missed 2 of the Lakers' first 8 games so far and likely to miss another 3 or 4 at least moving forward. And, you know, we've been
just an abdominal strain?
What was, yeah.
It's an abdominal strain.
I read other words.
It gets more technical than that.
What
but
was
it's an
the
abdominal
technical term?
strain. I'm not a doctor. I'm not really qualified.
But you can pronounce it, couldn't you?
Brendan, what was it?
It was abdominal or something else.
Oh, okay.
Something else.
Something else.
Okay.
I figured you were going to read it off.
All right. You when you read it, let us know.
All right.
You know, we've been sort of half jokingly referring to LeBron James as, you know, some sort of immortal over most of his career because of his durability. But at the age of 36, when these little things start to pile up, you wonder about LeBron. You wonder about the Lakers, the oldest team in the league, and what effect this might have.
Well, LeBron James hasn't been immortal. He's been showing us the chinks in the armor.
Yeah.
But we love him so much that we've just been turning a blind eye. 3 of the last 4 seasons, he's been getting nicked up. His first year there, he had the groin injury. Then he comes back, they win the title. But guess what? He has 4 months off. That's great for LeBron James and Anthony Davis for them to go do that in the bubble, no travel. Then you come back the following season. Next year, he has that injury as well with the high ankle sprain. He's not himself. And now we're seeing him get nicked up early in this season. So this is what happens when you're an older player. You start to get nicked up and you don't recover quite as quickly from games and injuries. And we're starting, listen, LeBron James is as close to a cyborg as we have in this NBA, but even he has a human side, and we're starting to see that now these last 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think from the Lakers' perspective, they would prefer to be more cautious. And, you know, scheduling-wise, they got a little bit of a break. OKC, Portland struggling, Charlotte as well, the next 3 games. And it also, I think, helps Westbrook a lot because he's still starting to get his rhythm. In the last few games, I think he's starting to play a little bit better. And so I think that plays a role in this as well because ultimately this is a big picture issue for them, right? It's all about the postseason and whether or not they have a chance. We saw what happened last year when they limped into the postseason. They got knocked out in the first round. So I think that they understand that, and more than anything, it's not just about dealing with the injury. When he comes back, you don't want it to still be nagging. Right. To Brendan's point, the fact that he is a little longer in the tooth, a little older, and they have enough depth, I think, to be able to withstand this to a certain degree. And now that they've gotten themselves above 500, they probably feel like this is the perfect time to do it as they start to get ready to the tougher part of their schedule.
To me, this was one of the scenarios that made Westbrook attractive to them in the offseason, the potential for injuries to LeBron in particular, but other players, and even gaps in games where they might want to sit him a little more because he's so used to having the ball in his hands and running a team.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You had to come in with the mindset that, you know what, LeBron at this age, he's probably going to miss some games. So is Anthony Davis, who's historically always had issues with injury. So to be able to still have a Westbrook when one of those 2 guys, if not both, are out, gives you a fighting chance to win. And I remember Greg Popovich used to do this brilliantly. He'd use the regular season to get ready for the postseason. And in doing that, sometimes you didn't play your best players because you get all those other guys opportunities to get confidence and to play well and to gain trust of their teammates. And so from a big picture, that's how you approach it from a coaching staff in that manner. And so those young guys on that roster, and Brendan knows this, they look at this, they're like, this is an opportunity.
Hey, 20 shots just opened up.
I get a chance to shine tonight. Guys like Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn, those guys, they get more opportunity in these scenarios. And they get an opportunity to earn the trust of Frank Vogel and that staff. So they're going to look at it that way. And it could be a benefit long term, but ultimately you got to get LeBron and AD and all those guys healthy if you want to have a legit chance.
And I think it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing for the young guys. If you're talking about somebody like Malik Monk that can go out there and maybe get an extra 5, 6, 7 shots and really get that confidence going, like what you talked about with Greg Popovich and those role players. But it's a curse when it comes to a guy like Russell Westbrook because he has to figure out, how do I function the way I've been functioning the last however many years in this league now that I'm not the number 1 or 2 option. I'm the 3rd banana. And so when he gets in these games where LeBron's not there, he actually goes to number 1 because the ball's in his hands. And now he's back to playing at his comfort level. Then LeBron James comes back, and it's like, okay, I'm back in the learning phase again. Russell Westbrook needs as many games with LeBron James as possible so he can learn, how do I function with LeBron? That was the biggest thing that I saw my last year in the league when I played with LeBron in Cleveland. I saw the guys like Deion Waiters, Kevin Love, some of those guys. They really had a hard time trying to function, how to function and play with LeBron James early on in the process. Now, once you figure it out, you're going to win a lot of games, probably be in the NBA Finals. But it does take time for guys that need the ball.
And that's if they're all on the floor, which is the big issue for the Lakers.
Yeah, and you got to be willing to learn. Deion Waiters wasn't willing to learn, so they had to make some moves.
They've got the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. The Thunder could be the worst team in the league. They're 1-6, but that one is a memorable one, certainly for the folks in L.A. Remember, it was last week. Lakers led by 26 in OKC and let that all slip away. But the Thunder's only win.
Irving, and there is a small, minuscule piece of news regarding that. The mayor-elect Eric Adams has said that he might revisit the COVID vaccines. And if I'm the Nets, I'm like, Mr. Mayor-elect, please be quiet because we want him to get vaccinated, because mayors who haven't gotten to office yet, they say all kinds of things that don't actually end up happening. But do you think this will change Kyrie's approach to getting vaccinated or not?
I believe he's going to play this season. Whether it's because he gets vaccinated, which we've talked about, and I just hope that it happens during the holiday season.
I think he's already vaccinated. He's in the 3-week period right now where he's not double
Hopefully
vaccinated.
he's in the giving season. Give NBA fans back the between the leg, behind the back left hand. I just need that back in my life. With that being said, I agree with you. Because you're the mayor and you say you want to do something, we all know politicians don't always do what they say.
Exactly.
But this could be something that helps his popularity a lot. They're also about that as well. So I believe if it's something he can do, he will do, because he put it out there.
Jalen, 2 more teams in the Eastern Conference that have championship or at least playoff aspirations. The Bulls, who are hot just out of the gate, and the 76ers faced off. And Joel Embiid and Seth Curry said, we don't need Ben Simmons.
Well, the thing I also took away from, we just talked about it. That's a terrific block by Joel Embiid late in the game. But you know what we probably should be showing? DeMar DeRozan did that same move earlier in the game, and he reverse dunked it.
Not
You know
that
what I mean?
time.
Like,
that was actually called a foul and got reversed.
And so, like, I like what I've seen from his game this year. DeMar DeRozan's been killing. But Curry's been the person that they've relied on to make big shots in Philly. And on paper, as you start to build the team, his role has now become more important because he's a dead-eye shooter that's improved his ball handling, and now all of a sudden he's went from being like a specialist to somebody that they can rely on to make big shots, and that's what he did in this game.
Yeah, he's no longer just a spot-up, catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He's playmaking for others. He's driving. He's doing a lot. It's good to see him progress because he's always been looked at as not Steph Curry, Seth Curry. But you mentioned DeRozan, and DeRozan has been absolutely on fire this season for the new-look Chicago Bulls. When you look at his numbers of what he's done this season, he's got a few games in the 30s. There's the reverse dunk you were talking about. Do you think he can maintain this kind of productivity throughout the full season?
Absolutely, because of how he's getting it.
Talk to me.
Do you see them hanging on the rim? Did you just see those dunks? Show those dunks again. Okay, that's the answer to your question. Ain't nothing wrong with his wheels. That's the whole thing. Like, he always was an elite scorer, a 20-plus point scorer. He added the 3. He got stronger. He improved his ball handling. Now he's finishing at the rim. It's great to see how he's flourishing in Chicago. Look at that bang, bang, Siegel Street on the baseline.
It's not just mid-range jumpers like it was in Toronto. And I think because he was in San Antonio, people weren't really paying attention to his productivity. But now that he's on the New Look Bulls, they're winning in early in the season. Everyone's paying attention to them. And he is 4th in the league in scoring. And I think he's going to stay around there for the full season. Hopefully he stays healthy. Jalen, we got some strange news.